Okay, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into this. I'm doing an oil painting on kind of a custom-sized canvas here that I've had going for a while. This is actually a professional piece that I've been working on for a few weeks. It is, like I said, an oil painting, and that's why it's taking so long to do. I'm painting it in layers. If you're an acrylic painter, you can go much quicker than this, but the landscape is a really pretty one. I'm not totally done with the landscape itself, but I want to show you how to put in some buffalo. Actually, technically not buffalo. We tend to call them buffalo here in North America, but these are actually bison. But they're really easy to paint, and they really do add a lot to these big plains type scenes. So hope you enjoy it. Let's jump right in and grab our palette. Okay, as you can see, the way we've got the camera set up this go around, I'm not actually going to be seen too much, but I do want you'll be able to see the canvas in my hand very well, hopefully. And that's after all the most important part I want you guys to get from this is just how exactly I do go about painting a bison. You can tell I've already got a big guy painted in here, 3 here, a few back here in the background, and a pretty good sized herd off in the deep distance. I have gone ahead, and this is the first step that I do. I take a soft vine charcoal. This is what I had laying around, and you can use something else if you want to. Soft vine charcoal is though what I'm using, and I went ahead and just sketched out some basic shapes for a few more bison. I've got one big guy, and that's the first one that we're actually going to work on, and then I'll tackle the others a little bit later. But you guys are going to see me paint this one right here. Now you notice he's not in the dead center. I do not have him in the dead center. I don't want him in the dead center. And I've also sketched out one that goes off the canvas. All of those, both of those components of him being a little bit off center and this one right here kind of being an eye stopper is going to really help this piece once it's all finished out. But let's dive right in, and we're going to grab the first brush I would like to take, if I can find it over here. Really, if I can find it. I've got all my brushes laid out for myself, and sometimes that's good and sometimes that's not. I think I just found it. Okay. Too many brushes, that's part of the problem. I've got a number 3 flat bristle, natural bristle. Since this is an oil painting, that's what I'm going to use. I use that for all my acrylics as well. But we're going to go in. I've got several colors on my palette. I've got titanium white, Van Dyke brown, burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, and dioxazine purple. Now this dioxazine purple, we're not actually going to use it too much for the actual bison. That color is really only going to be for this little shadow that you see right here just behind. The light's coming from kind of this direction, kind of pounding down, kind of a high noon sky, but there is a little bit of a shadow just behind the bison themselves. All right, so I've got a little color mixture already going, but I'm going to throw in some more Van Dyke brown, which is really going to kind of take over. I'm going to take some ultramarine blue. I just want a dark color. A little burnt sienna just to kind of warm this up a little bit, and then just a corner touch of dioxazine purple. Not much at all. You really don't even have to use that purple, but underneath there is some shadow on these big fellas. So that's why I threw a little purple in. Now that's too dark. That is still incredibly too dark. So I do want to grab some titanium white, and I'm just going to kind of got a little too much there, but I'm just going to gradually blend this white in. And that's a good color. I'm actually feeling really nice about that color for this particular bison. First thing we want to do, although I've got kind of his, as you know, bison kind of have a little upper hide or upper kind of fur area. I'm not really sure what it's called in here, just before, right kind of on their shoulders. But we're just going to paint his whole body in. And what we want to do is we want to start from the outside, and we just want to pull down. And then we do the same thing down here on the legs. Now, don't be afraid to quickly paint this. And the reason I'm saying that, you're going to get some uneven lines, and that's okay. We want these to be semi-soft. We do not want hard lines. Kind of raises up just a little bit in here. That's looking good. We'll keep this going, just laying, and I'm going to go ahead and paint right over his head. I don't have a ton of paint on my brush. And a lot of you may feel like, whoa, that brush is way too big for me. I can't get that kind of detail. Work with it, you will. You'll get there. Okay. Just continue. I'm going to reload a little bit. All right, when I get down here, hopefully you're going to have a shadow there, but I'm going to pull up from his belly. Just pull it up. Okay. Pull in. We always want to be pulling into the body. When you get down here to the legs, it's okay just to pull down. I'm not actually going to paint too much of a hoof, because I may pull up some grass in that area. Okay. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay, now we definitely need some darker Van Dyke brown for this face. Not much, just a little, and we're going to add a little blue to that. We're just darkening it just some. And they've got a little beard on them, almost. Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to take this white and we want to lighten this color even more. We're going to paint that little shoulder area that I was telling you about where the hide's just a little bit different. So I'm going to start off with a slightly whiter color. I may have to go stronger here in a second. I just want to test this out, see how it looks. Yeah, that's looking good. And that kind of comes down, if you look at a bison, that hide color really comes down into that front leg. There we go. Grabbing just a little bit more white. I'm just kind of mixing this color in. Okay. All right, now I'm going to set this brush to the side for a second. I'm going to grab my script liner brush. In fact, no, I need to mix up some darker color first. I need a little bit darker color. Van Dyke brown, I'm going to do a separate mixture. Purple and ultramarine blue. Won't hurt to throw a little burnt sienna into this just to keep it warm. Really want to go heavier on the blue though. Okay, I've got the color mixed up, and the only reason I used that brush to do the color was so I didn't have to do that with a liner brush. Got a little paint thinner here. Just a little bit. May have to have a little more, but we're going to see if we can do without it first. And we want to paint the underneath of his belly. Yeah, and kind of in between those legs there. That looks good. And underneath there. And a little bit underneath his face. Need a little bit more defined line up here around his noggin. All right. So I'm going to clean that liner brush out now. Okay. Now, I'm going to take white. I'm going back into this light mixture. He needs a snout. Got a little bit of paint thinner in my brush, that's okay. Actually probably will help a little bit. And I just want to paint a good snout on this fella. Right there. Maybe let's give him some eyes too. Eye there. Slight eye on this other side. We can't see it as well. There we go. And then he's got to have some horns, right? Same color. There we go. Now that's a little bit too light, so I'm going to take a little bit more of this Van Dyke brown, and on the back side of those horns, I'm going to do a little dark strip. Just like that, and on this one it'll be on the other side. Yeah, that looks a lot better already. Alright, I want to create a little bit of this. His face is a little too flat, so I'm going to take this lighter color that I was using, and obviously the light's coming from this direction, so I'm just going to kind of round off his snout here. Yeah, look at that. Look at it come alive. Maybe get a little fur in here, just kind of mix it up some. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay. You know, his little beard down here would actually be lit just a little bit. We need to mix it up just to make it look like fur again. Okay. Got a little too light there, so I'm going to go back into my dark mixture. Got it thinned down just a little bit so it'll lay on, and voila, got that. Okay. Now he needs a little tail, right? Just a little one. There's his tail. Perfect. That looks good. Okay. I actually think this eye got a little large, so I'm going to kind of decrease it just a little bit just by kind of wiping out a little bit of that paint. This guy's fairly close. He's not too far away from being done. Yeah, he's looking good. Okay, so I'm going to take some of my dark color. Kind of give him a little bit of a hoof. Same thing back here. Just a hoof. And we can cover that up with a little bit of grass too, just to make sure he doesn't look too terribly like he's flying. We're going to need to settle him down a little bit, which always has to happen. I do think we need to darken that color just a little bit though, so I'm going to add a little purple just to get his hoof kind of the right color. Okay. All right, so I'm going to clean out this liner brush now. Now we need to highlight him. All right, see how this one's got some good white? We need some sunlight to hit him, so we're going to go back into our titanium white. Relatively pure titanium white. It's got a little bit of that brown mixture in it, so it's not exact. getting my paint a little too thick there, so I'm going to add some paint thinner. Alright, I've got a little bit of paint thinner on it. I'm going to grab it right off the tip of the brush here. Now, he's going to have a nice highlight on his front leg. Very lightly touch. Probably got that a little much, but it's not a big deal. Definitely going to need some on his back. And of course, on these horns on the other side where the light's hitting. Yeah, that really brings it out. So I'm going to clean out that liner brush again. I've got a paper towel here. I'm just going to kind of wipe that off to try to get some moisture out of it. Then I'm just going to kind of pull the excess paint back down into the fur. Same thing down here, just kind of mix it in. Okay, we now have a completed buffalo. I'll do a little bit more refining to it, but for the most part he's done. I'm going to paint the others, and I'm glad you decided to take on possibly painting a bison. If you've enjoyed this, after I guess I actually need to go ahead and paint the shadow in too. Before I forget, let me paint in that shadow, because I will. And I want to make sure everybody knows how to do that, because that's an important part. That helps settle him as well. I've got a dark color here with some purple in it. We need to add that to some white, which is what I'm doing now. So this has this paint that I'm mixing up right now has a good bit of purple in it. I want to get as much of the paint out of my brush as I can. Okay. Now, obviously for anything behind him, it's going to be in that grassy area. So I'm going to need to pull up just like I did over here, just like I did with my grass. So I'm going to get close to him, and I'm just going to kind of pull. Same thing back in here, except this time I'm going to kind of pull down. All right. I think that looks pretty good. He's got a nice little shadow behind him now. That works great. So he's done. Other than a couple little bit more professional refining pieces that I'm going to do on him, he is done. So that is how you paint a bison. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, please be sure and hit the like button, which may be here or here, I can't remember, and also hit the subscribe button as well. And if you'd like to see more great content like this, please just make sure you hit the subscribe button and share this video. Please share it with all your friends who like to paint. And leave a comment if you have another subject that you'd like to see me talk about and paint and actually give a tutorial about. Please leave that in the comments. And if you have a comment about anything in the world, even if you didn't like it, please leave a comment, and I'll try to get back to you with any questions or fun things that you want to talk about. Have a great day, keep painting, and God bless.